I'm going to lead us in an opening for the circle. So if you want to repeat after me, I'm going to go line by line. You are my other me. If I do harm to you. You know, some people have been in restorative justice with me. You know that last year and the year before have been really rough on me. They have not been the best years by any means. I just had, things going on with me, with my family, growing up, becoming an adult, finishing school, and having something like the circle to go to every day, talk with Heather and talk with the other students in there is really what I can say carried me through that. To be okay with leaving. Restorative justice isn't just a place to go and talk, a place to let out your feelings, but it's also an amazing tool that everybody should know about. I feel like I'm really prepared to get out of high school and to get into the world and take on all the struggles that come with that. And I don't know if I could say the same without having been in restorative justice. Thank you.
Just before we get started in opening today, do you all have your permission slips for the conference this week and next week?
At first it's kind of like, oh, I gotta go to this class.
It's easy. We just sit in there, we talk about our feelings. That's
Friday.
cool.
We're going to Nsika Friday.
Oh, that sounds easy. And I was like, well, I need English credits. So let me ask Heather to let me in.
Make sure you have your talking piece of the piece.
For a straight week, I sat out the circle. I just said, hi, my name is Tony. There you go.
I didn't really participate. I just want to hear what everybody had to say and just consumed it in.
I do harm to you.
We went on break. Not even a week into our break, my brother passed. When I came back, I was so disruptive and I was just like not trying to do it, kind of, like how I was raised. You don't talk about your feelings.
Okay, so let's check in today. Please say your name. How are you doing?
And then one day, they got to a topic that really hit me. Because at that time, I think I was having trouble with my relationship. I sat there, I was like, I need to speak out about it. As a check-in, I said, like, have you ever been discouraged about a friendship or a relationship? And everybody raised their hand, so I was like, I felt like I wasn't alone. So then right there, I just began.
It just went from me not speaking to me telling other people about my experiences and how I handled it myself.
I'm Laura, I'm doing fine. Seeing other students like really transform the circle really kind of got me like, oh, maybe this is something interesting. And I did kind of start paying attention.
The more the stories kept rolling, the more I just kept telling them more about me, the more I opened up with myself, and the more I got to finally see what was really inside of me. And I don't know, it changed me.
Just seeing it actually change people was like, oh, maybe I can be one of those people too.
Okay, so as you can see, we're learning to prepare for our conference, right? Our conference is Friday. We're going to Nsika Friday.
My experience with restorative justice, and I was having a lot of trouble with circle it's a way to reconnect with yourself. We always are constantly working on ourselves, making ourselves the best that we can be, and then helping other people become the best that they can be.
We're like a family that gather together every day, and it's like we sit at the round table and just talk. Just pretty much just share our stories and see if we relate and we can help out people.
It's a process of that has enabled us to communicate better to those who are in need, and also use these skills to help our own lives.
What kind of questions do we want to ask? Okay, now that we know what the flow is going to be like, let's figure out the content. So the heart of this work is the circle. That's where we learn to really sit with ourselves and listen deeply to ourselves and each other. And the real practice in this work is really doing that every single day. In that space, we try to listen really deeply. And I think what that cultivates then is this really powerful sense of community. Because when we can really sit with ourselves and kind of embrace and look at all the parts of ourselves, we're more likely to be able to do that with others.
If you come to the school, that first thing you'll see in the atmosphere is everyone's still connected in some way, shape, or form. And I feel like that's what a lot of schools need, is that connection of respect, that compromising midfield of respect within each student.
Learning everyone's story brings us together in a way that you would never think. Like you could look at someone and be like, oh, I wouldn't really necessarily be friends with them. But when you get in there, it's kind of like what's on the outside gets stripped down and you really see each other for what's inside.
When I was little, We have a unique opportunity, I think, to stay connected with the school. So instead of me just coming and having my group of friends and going to classes and going home, I have my group of friends, and then through restorative justice, I meet everybody else in the school.
You just walk down the hallways and you're like, oh, hey, you know, how you been, and things like that. Like, I mean, at a regular high school, who really does that, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to be the shy guy here, you know, because everybody's like, what's your name? What do you do? You know, what do you do for fun? Everybody's so invited.
So what makes a relationship healthy?
I mean, you think about how often we go about our lives and we never get to share the things that are going on with us that we really need people to know, because we need to not be alone. That seems to be just the norm in life in general, at work, at school, and everything, that we're all carrying these things and we never get to speak to it. I think a lot of our connections now are more artificial. They're not as deep. And you know, the thing with social media is so many times we get to put out the me that we want everybody to see and know, and we don't put out all of those other pieces that really make us real and connect us deeply to people. And the circle, somehow, it just brings out the truth and the experiences and the real you in a way that nothing else can.
The theme of NCECA is the material world. And so I thought it would be a really great opportunity to write this proposal about the value of the talking piece, how it's used in restorative justice circles, and just how handmade objects carry stories.
And then I just turn it into talking pieces hold so much power in them. They're not just objects.
I spent a lot of time on it.
They have stories and memories about them, with them, in them. And when you're in a circle and you're using your talking piece, you're sharing it with people that kind of feel the power of the object. I'm pretty nervous, and I'm also really excited because this is like not something everyone gets to do every day, you know.
I'm really proud of you guys, and I'm glad to be able to do this with you. I feel really like we're in good hands.
And I'm just grateful for like all of you guys. Like Heather said, we're not like always going to be together today, but we're going to be together.
Being part of this is just a really great experience, and it'd be great to actually carry it on as a tradition and represent Alliance as a school. And I really love the school.
I was laying in bed and kind of hit me that I'm leading a circle today. But I'm kind of glad we like passed this around because I was watching it and everyone held it, and it's going to be in my purse, so it's kind of like everyone's going to be with me, so I don't have to be a little nervous.
So just close your eyes, look down, and take 3 deep breaths. So now I'd like you all to just imagine yourselves in the space in the ballroom where we're going to be today. And I invite you to consider that you are all part of a larger community, and that today we have an opportunity to share the work that we do with others. Know that whatever you're feeling in that moment, whether it's nervousness or excitement or groundedness, that all of it is appropriate. And know that when you're speaking, and even if you're the only voice that's filling the room, that we're all together and we're all holding and supporting one another.
Tina Owen had the idea to create a school that was LGBT friendly, bully free, and where kids could have a voice and power in their community. We have a mission of restorative justice to teach people how to communicate and become better people in their communities.
About our circle process.
Through the circle process, you'll learn a little bit more about that.
All right, pick your partner.
For the circle, we do follow certain guidelines. The first one is respect the talking piece. Another one is speak from the heart and listen from the heart. And then another one is respect confidentiality. So what's said in the circle stays in the circle.
So we're going to start off with a game. I know we just kind of played a game over there, but this one you can sit down and understand.
So at the Alliance School, we hold circles to support ourselves and each other. We hold community building circles in classrooms and for the entire school. We also support others in taking responsibility and repairing any harm that they may have committed. We've worked with people locally, nationally, and internationally to share this work. And that's why we have our students here today.
What's an obstacle that you're facing, and how can you use your work to overcome it?
That was a big deal, to go in front of art collectors from all over the world, professors from major universities all around the country. It was really cool to see that ballroom and see every student facilitating their specific circle.
The obstacle that I'm facing is aging.
I was so surprised to like how open they were. I think that they weren't ready for how real the circle was, because they were like, you know, we were crying And I was just like, man, this went from, being such a surface topic to like going really deep, really fast. Like when things like that happen, I'm like, this is why I love the circle.
Every time you guys talk about what you go through, it touches me and it lets me be able to feel like I'm not alone.
I was just bowled over by the whole concept of the Alliance School. I mean, I knew a little bit about it, but it just seems to me like a model that could be used all over Milwaukee and other places, as well as all over the country.
My comfort zone, if you will. I heard about this, but I never experienced it. It's very different. I think you have to experience it. The level of maturity of the students and how in the circle they really took a hold of the whole conversation. I felt like the child actually, and I'm actually taking some tips that I'm going to apply myself.
I do harm to you.
I do harm to myself.
I do harm to myself.
If I love and respect you.
If I love and respect you.
I love and respect myself.
I love and respect myself.
Opening up and finding your comfort zone is really about working on yourself. We kind of had just a really big circle with a whole bunch of people that are really interested in getting restorative justice into their workplaces, into their schools, into these organizations that they're starting up. Say, this is what I need for today to be a good day. And then finding people and saying, what do you need for today to be a good day? Just being able to sit there with a whole bunch of adults and like tell them why it works for us and how it can work for them, it's pretty amazing.
We always really listen for where the people who are in the session want to be when they're done with the session. And we're constantly looking at, how do we create a community with the people with whom we're working in a very short period of time.
Put their hands on your shoulder.
We'll use a game or two that really connects with the work that we're doing.
So what did you notice about yourself and others while playing the game? I noticed that I didn't look into the eyes.
In Native cultures, people use games as a means of looking at how we reflect how we play our lives, so to speak. And so to that extent, we might play 1 or 2 games, but then we really spend time digging in to whatever issue is at hand. So people can begin to share their stories and build community. And Jeremiah, one of our experienced circle keepers, said, I think for this conference, all of the newer circle keepers should lead. I think it's time for us to sit back and let them take the lead.
Tell a story about a conflict that you faced.
And that's what we did. In some circles, people were sitting right next to each other, and they were just doing some incredible coaching. In some circles, the person was sitting right across, just kind of sending a lot of love and support and letting the other person, go forward as necessary.
I just have to say I'm really proud of Brianna. She did a really good job leading her circle.
I was trying to say, could y'all repeat after me? And that wasn't coming out. Like, nothing was coming out, but Abby helped me, so yeah.
I was really proud of Esme.
Yay!
Because she did an amazing job holding the circle, leading the circle.
You did a really good job of putting your foot down, finishing the questions.
I still get nervous even today, because I feel like I don't want to present this process in the wrong way.
Because when they say circles, I think they think circles is just staying in the circle.
Yeah.
And when we think circle, we think of restorative justice because they'll say circle and then they'll say restorative justice.
I think it's important for us to help people understand that it's a process and it takes time. It's not instant coffee. There's always something new in education. There's always a new thing. People are always getting some kind of a training. You get a binder, you get a kit, you go back, you put it in your school, you do it, And so I think a lot of times people kind of see this as the same thing. The real gift in all of this is really taking the time to sit with ourselves. And I have the privilege of 100 minutes, 4 days a week, sitting with myself, with my students. And we really consider what happens in the circle a practice. This is a practice. And the idea is that what we're cultivating here, we take outside in our lives.
There has to be a want to be there and a want to share. And you can't just go in there and be with people that you don't know, and then you start asking all these personal questions. And it's really something that if you don't buy in, it can't be forced on you. You have to be willing and you have to be ready to step into this process, because you can't just teach it and you can't just learn it. It goes both ways. Whether you're the student or whether you're the teacher, it's a growing process from the beginning to the end.
I mean, there's always a few people that are like, I don't know, that's just not going to work. Like, if I had my students do this, it wouldn't work. And if a teacher brought it to their classroom with that energy, it wouldn't work. Yeah, it's not a formula. It's not you follow these steps and it works. You really have to feel it and understand it, to get into that. You have to experience it.
The reason that this works here is that we have a leader who knows how to share power. And I think that if a principal is able to stand strongly in herself or himself, then what happens is the staff and the students then take ownership and share responsibility in the school in a really powerful and meaningful way. And I see that happening here. I see young people who have a sense of who they are. I see young people who are willing to listen to themselves. I see young people who are willing to be honest about when they're bumping up against things within themselves or around them, and being willing to take responsibility for how they're handling their lives.
Okay, well, let's go over the guidelines first. No cell phones, no side talking, respect the talking pieces,
Once a semester, every circle keeper leads their own circle. We come up with the questions and the theme, and we run a circle like we would any other day.
We think of questions that have to do with what's going on in the whole entire school.
The students really listen to what's up in the school and what kind of issues are present.
How do you set and maintain boundaries, and what do you do when someone crosses them?
We have about 12 different circles going at once, and there are students who are facilitating and leading those circles, and the adults are sitting and participating.
So the staff meets and we do the questions that the students are going to be going through, just so we can see how we're going to react to them, how they're going to react to them, like what we might need to consider.
Oh man, it's just a really great feeling just to speak about what I've been through and to see it actually affecting people who are listening to me and like taking it in. I know what I've done. I don't know, I feel like a leader, you know what I mean? I feel like people are actually listening and they trust me with, to tell them stuff, to help them with stuff.
Us circle keepers, we're kind of like the, first responders, like not security, but like kind of rescuers. Like we're here to fix things.
A lot of students, like when there's something going on, they know, like go and get this person, they're a circle keeper, they know how to handle this. You have all these people that recognize what you do for the school, what you do in your class, and they know that when they need someone, they can come for you.
It's definitely had an impact in the school-wide community because people request it. Students will come and say, I'm getting really mad, we're gonna end up fighting, we need to have a circle. It's just something that anybody can pick up and use when they need to, instead of something that people are sent to. Sure. It's become the thing that people want first.
Students can request a circle. If a student has done something where they have hurt someone within the community or hurt the community itself, that student has the opportunity to come to the circle.
Repair harm circles we usually do when someone's done something to affect another person or the whole school. If it's a fight, we'll separate two people and we'll have circles individually with both of them, and we'll see if they're ready to take responsibility for what they did, and if they are, then we'll put them in a circle together.
Basically what we're trying to do is get through the problem and then get to the root of the problem. So one thing Heather always tells us is that it's never what you can see, it's always the stuff underneath that.
We'll really try to gain a deeper understanding and connect with that person about why they landed in that particular situation, what led up to that, what are they thinking about. Then we look at how the community was impacted and how the harm can be repaired. And then we work on moving the person with dignity back into the community.
Like based on what they like to do and things like that, we'll come up with things that they can do to help, show the school that they are sorry.
And at the end, most times conclusion, it's, repaired. We prepared the relationship, not only the situation, but probably they keep it in the back of their heads, like when this happens again, I learned within the circle that I could take a different approach to this.
Because at the end of the day, we're like a family here. So when something happens like that, like, fighting or something, we take that really personal, like, why would you guys jeopardize or like hurt the family like that, like obviously it's not good.
Newer students, when they sit for their first time in a repair harm circle, and we ask the question, who was affected by this experience? I've watched students shift in that moment as the student begins to understand that, oh, it wasn't just me, it wasn't just this other person, it wasn't just my mother or her mother or his mother, it was all of these other people in the community, and this is how it affected the other community. Wow, these people really care about me. My actions made a difference.
And so your first round of questions are all about facts. Then the second round are the feelings.
The peer justice counselors are for people who are facing expulsion, so very serious charges.
The kids from the circle class will get together.
The student comes in with a parent and we sit down and talk about, the situation.
So our role here as the peer justice council members is not to judge you at all. We're here to just get facts about what happened, understand the feelings about how people were affected, talk to you about what needs to be fixed to repair the harm, and support you to make better future decisions.
The council will work with the person and will determine a repair for any harm that was caused. then the council will be listening for a need that has to be met. So sometimes a student is really struggling with how to deal with anger. And if people are angry, there's a reason. And so if students are lashing out, even though their behavior isn't appropriate and it might not be safe for them or for other people, there's a reason that behavior is happening. So the students will look at what need is unmet.
When you really talk to them and stuff, it's like, oh, it's not even, about the situation. It's, what's really going on at home or what's going on with them.
There are some students that don't really care and they're like, okay, expel me, suspend me, But then there are those students that were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they really want that chance to show that that really was a mistake, and they're willing to do all these different things to prove that.
Yeah, what do you like to do outside of school?
And then the third piece of that is developing a skill. Really looking at what does this student like to do? Where does this person find joy? What are their talents? What can we create? Recently we had a peer justice council for students here, and part of the personal development piece was taking an acting class because this person loves to act and really sought a lot of attention in really inappropriate ways, but really liked to be on stage. So we were trying to support her in finding really productive ways to get that attention.
The first time we ever had that in here, I caught up with one of them after, and they just said that that this really helped them and that their mother was in there and they got to see their mother cry and stuff, and they seen how it really affected, their loved ones around them. So, man, that would have saved me too, like stuff like that, like having that person to talk to. If I had that person to talk to in middle school, I wouldn't be here now. Like I'd be having a job already out of school, I'd been on the right track. Somebody to talk to about my emotions, how I feel in school and how I should deal with things. That would have saved me.
Welcome families and guests to the Lions School graduation of 2014. That's right, yeah! That's right. Thank you all for joining us and celebrating this great day.
Hello everybody, just have a couple words I'd like to say. Circle really knew what I needed before I even knew what I needed. What's the irony of me trying to get in Circle just to get an easy A, and such a tragedy happening to me. It was just kind of like it was meant to be.
I want to thank the senior class for supporting me also in my loss. I really appreciate you guys.
Everyone's been so supportive, and glad to say I don't drink anymore. And I'm not over my brother's passing, but I can obviously talk about him now and honor him. He always pushed for me to graduate, so I'll be the first to graduate in June for the family.
Laura Gallegos.
It's amazing that today I can stand here in front of you as the salutatorian of the class. I don't want to just float through high school, I want to leave my imprint here, This is like a really special place to me.
Jeremiah Owens.
When I first started doing this type of work, I wanted this to be something that I did in my career, that I did with my family as I get older, and that stays with me for the rest of my life. Tonight's valedictorian is someone who is smart, compassionate, humble, and kind. He's graduating with the highest GPA of the graduating class and the highest GPA to be earned in any graduating senior in the history of Alliance.
I never thought I would get that far, in this kind of program.
Tony Sayarath.
I really trust that all of you will continue to stand in your power, and that you will continue to look even at the most difficult moments in life as opportunities to learn and grow.
The skills that we learn in Circle, I'll forever take with me, wherever I go, either in the workplace or at home or someday with my children.
No small accomplishment.
Once you learn how to carry, how to hold the Circle process, it's something you never lose. It's like taking your first step as a child.
As you become more aware of yourself and the things around you, you start to feel the literal power of it. It'll carry itself.
If you're really dedicated to it and you're really open-minded and listen with your heart, like we say, you'll find peace with yourself.